The ship has landed.
Hey, we got a gift in the mail the other day. See that box?
Yes.
Somebody sent us a box. Bring that box over here.
Okay.
Here, there. It's a heavy box.
Yeah.
I'm going to open this in a little while.
All right.
What's
Okay.
in the box?
I don't, yeah.
Yeah, right there.
What's in the box?
Just want to make sure so I don't forget. Get any communiques, get them in now. It's your Daily Mojo at Doc Thompson Show at Real Brad Staggs. Please follow across social media as well. Get any other audio ones coming in?
Yeah, actually I do.
Right.
Would you like to hear one of those?
Sure.
How about this one right here?
Okay.
Are you ready?
Yep.
I'm ready for it, too.
Okay.
Mexican you are, the more
Hold on.
There we go.
So
Got
many
it.
buttons, so little time.
what I learned today. The more Mexican you are, the more discount you get. Yeah, that's not a fail.
See?
So Aero America is just like America.
Yes. Yes, they are.
They're following the American plan.
Yes.
That sounds fantastic.
Yeah.
You got a couple others, Mr.
Yeah, some over on Twitter, actually.
What do you got?
Kinsey Richards, Mojo 50 Radio is so wrong, very wrong, but it feels so good.
maybe that's our
slogan.
so wrong, but so right. Feels we're on to
so
something
good.
there. Mm-hmm.
See, I knew
Remember that. So
I know
later on today, when I say, hey, what was that thing? You'll remember.
Right.
Because I won't remember.
No, you won't.
Hey, one of the things we've been focusing on over the past year or so when it comes to health, because there's a lot of people like Brad that are getting older and older, and I'm a little concerned about him.
Yeah.
I mean, you get over when you're just real close to 60?
I'm actually closer to 40.
Okay, because I'm going to turn 40 this year, and I will be 40 this year.
You'll be, you be 40 plus a lot.
Let's just move on.
Uh-huh.
Anyway,
You started.
is gut health. Gut health is the health of the future. I read an article, 2 years or so ago, and was like, wait a minute, look at all of the things that gut health affects. And every week something else comes out. This is the science of the future. So you want to be healthy. This is going to be something you have to focus on. And one of the advertisers we have on that we're proud to talk about from time to time is Atrantil. LoveMyTummy.com.
Hey.
How are you, sir?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for having me on Mojo 50.
Let's see how you feel at the end of the interview.
That's right. And what's your first name?
My name is Ken Brown.
Ken Brown. Did you start Atrantil?
I did. So this is actually my baby. Atrantil is my baby. I'm a board-certified gastroenterologist, still practicing. Thank you so much for bringing up the gut because I might be a little bit biased. But
I'm not wrong about all that, right?
Not at all. All health begins and ends in the gut.
I mean, it sounds simple when you think about it because that's where you get all your nutrition from, right?
It's where you get all of your nutrition, and then you take in the outside world, and your body has to figure out what to absorb, what to keep out, what to fight off. And because of the American lifestyle, a lot of us are putting a lot of bad things in our gut, and that's actually how we ended up coming up with something like Atrantil to help everybody heal their gut.
So when we started seeing, probably about 5 years or so, the tie between heart disease and gut health, because all of that bacteria from your mouth, the tartar and all that stuff,
especially
that gets
your mouth, it
ends up
dirty.
affecting your heart. And then we see depression. I mean, those are wildly different things that are all affected by what goes through your intestines, right?
Exactly. In fact, so my whole journey to develop Atrantil actually started over 10 years ago. I was doing clinical research in the pharmaceutical industry. And at that time, I realized that there was a big hole missing here. We can't keep throwing drugs at everything. So the products that I was researching were about 9% better than placebo. And we figured out that we could take Mother Nature, patent Mother Nature, and fix people naturally, and that's what we did with Atrantil here.
And people get that. I mean, look at the difference. When I grew up and when I was a kid, we were just getting into the more processed foods. Mom started working. They started doing more of the packaged dinners and stuff like this. But my mom still, even though she worked outside the home by the time I went to school, she still cooked most of the time. So we had some packaged cereals now and then and that, but probably 80% of our diet to 90% was still mom cooked. And we had a garden and all of that stuff.
Wow, you're triggering me so much.
You didn't have that?
No, my mom cooked TV dinners. I hate Salisbury steak to this day. And
So-
that stupid pudding in the corner.
But now you look at the average diet, and I'd be willing to bet 90% processed or packaged, not fresh. 80%, something. It's a complete. And then you look at it and you go, look at how many people are on the little purple pill. Look at how many people take regularly the stomach stuff. How many depressants, all of these things. Come on, there's got to be some tie in there.
Oh, You're exactly right, Doc. As a nation, we are getting sicker. As a gastroenterologist, my practice isn't slowing down. I'm just inundated with people that come in all the time. They say, I was perfectly fine at one time, and then something happened, and now every time I eat, I bloat. I've developed depression. I've got fibromyalgia, aches, pains. And then take it one step further. You were saying about heart disease being linked to the mouth. Actually, what we now know is that all inflammation creates all these other problems. So the epidemic of autism and obesity in kids starts because your intestinal barrier becomes a little permeable, or we call that leaky gut. Sometimes now we can take it from cradle to grave, and the epidemic of dementia and Alzheimer's is now being linked to the gut.
Yeah, that's right. I just saw that a month or two ago.
Yeah, and so
I think I brought that up. I think I told
stop
you
taking
about
credit
that.
for it. You know what? If you'd been eating healthier, you'd be able to remember that.
Does it have any? Has there ever been a link between that and type 1 diabetes?
Oh, okay. So all autoimmune disease has been linked to beginning in the intestine. If you start the inflammatory process, autoimmune disease means that your body attacks itself. So type 1 diabetes is forming antibodies against the insulin-producing cells of your pancreas.
Right.
So we believe that autoimmune disease is on the rise, all of them.
Right.
So if you look at this, it has to be something with our lifestyle. It has to be something with the diet, maybe how we're raising our crops.
Yeah. And that makes sense that your body would head in all these different directions to try to react to something that's happening at that level.
So I took my family to Spain about 1.5 years ago, and I'm walking around and I'm like, holy cow, people are still smoking. They're eating late at night. They're they're kind of living their life. Then I looked at this, and they do something a little bit different than us. Number one, they raise their crops different. Number two, they take 10 times the amount of these molecules called polyphenols. Those are the molecules that are found in the Mediterranean diet that give vegetables and fruit their color.
Okay.
They eat 10 times the amount. We have a higher incidence of coronary artery disease, dementia, Alzheimer's. We're sicker, and we keep trying to swim upstream, and they're smoking and eating and actually having less disease than we do.
And the only reason our life expectancy hasn't dropped significantly is we have all these pharmaceuticals that have propped us up. Now, it's not living a good life. It's like been on life support, basically, right? We're all just, I'm getting along, take a pill, right? I mean, that's
quality of life.
I mean, it's quality of life
point.
is the key to everything right here. And so, you know, my big fear is the increasing rise of dementia and Alzheimer's, because you can do everything you want to stay healthy on, you know, the outside, go to the gym and everything. But ultimately, if because of your lifestyle, you end up having that type of inflammation that affects your brain. And that's why taking polyphenols, which are the same molecules that we have in Atrantil, that's how we ended up developing it. I knew that we needed good molecules. I knew that we needed something to help heal the gut. And this is where all health begins and ends in the gut.
So while we focused on some of the specifics of Atrantil, and I keep saying it wrong, just go to lovemytummy.com. That's the, and I know you realize that's why you got to lovemytummy.com.
Well, if they just named it gut health, it would be better. It'd be
that's
easier
not
to
real
say.
sexy either. Yeah. But it's not just about the specifics like IBS and stuff. That's the reason we're talking about gut health in general affecting everything else. But there are some more specific things like dealing with IBS and bloating and stuff, right?
Exactly. So in my field, there's been this paradigm shift that has taken place. So a lot of people still believe that irritable bowel syndrome, or the symptoms of IBS, which are bloating, abdominal pain, and change in bowel habits, are related to depression or anxiety. And even some of my colleagues will still treat people with antidepressants. That's where I was doing the research on 10 years ago, and now we realize that paradigm shift is very similar to what happened with ulcer disease.
Right.
30 years ago, it was felt that if you were stressed, you'd get an ulcer, and then an Australian gastroenterologist figured out it was due to bacteria, won the Nobel Prize for it. And now we realize that what's happening is that when a lot of people that are labeled as irritable bowel syndrome, it's because bacteria is growing where it shouldn't be. That's called bacterial overgrowth. So then when you eat, especially these refined foods and these starches and all this stuff.
You tell me sugar is bad for you, I'm going to I am not going to be happy.
You know the truth, buddy.
Damn it.
Well, it feeds that bad bacteria, right?
It feeds not necessarily the bacteria are good or bad. They're living in the wrong place.
Oh,
that's the key.
More upstream?
Well, yeah. So basically, your small bowel or right past your stomach should be sterile. And if you go through a very stressful event, if you have an infection or take antibiotics, it shocks that area. And then bacteria can start to grow. Then every time you eat the processed food, you have your donut.
Don't look at me when you say that.
He can tell by looking at you. You look old and
wow.
haggard.
This all actually...
He's only 22.
Well,
in dog years.
Well, something that I don't want to get too into, but these polyphenols are actually anti-aging molecules, and I'm 82, so
You look fantastic.
By the way, Ken
if you
is
would've
in
seen
good
me-
shape.
He's in good shape for
He's
82.
a
That's
really
awesome.
good. Obviously he practices what he preaches
Yeah.
because
What I love about this is one of those things, and part of the focus of my show, but even this platform, is to really help people come up with some life hacks. That's what so much of it. We're all heading in the same direction, ultimately, even if we don't know it. Left, right, up, down, doesn't matter.
I mean, we're all going to be dead eventually.
Well, we're all trying to find, a way to put food on the table for the kids, to live our life, to live as long and as healthy as
Exactly.
possible, whatever. So when I first heard about Atrantil, I was like, this is one of those life hacks. It's very simple. And I think when people try it, it's going to be one of those, oh, thank God. It's a miracle.
Well, for the person that we developed it for, if you bloat after you eat, you have over an 85% chance that you're going to get better. But if you want overall digestive health, these polyphenols in here are good for you. We're now seeing a ton of science where it actually helps heal. So it's kind of a win-win. Almost all my patients that we start this on, once they feel better and they can eat what they want, they no longer bloat, they stay on it because they just ultimately feel better.
And I think there's a lot of people when you say, oh, I don't bloat, really? There's a lot of people that don't know. It's like when I have practiced certain health regimens, I'm getting sleep right, eating healthy, I'm running all of this stuff. I don't wake up and go, ta-da! I just feel normal. I only realize that I feel better when I stop. So most of us are going through this. We think what we're living is normal. It's not. You feel horrible. When you start doing things, you just, oh, okay, good. I'm where I should be then. And I think that's what you're going to experience with some of that too.
Exactly. And the thing about the thing about your intestines is, okay, let's say that you sprain an ankle. You just stay off your ankle. Well, anybody that has chronic intestinal issues will completely agree with this. So if there's things like inflammatory bowel disease like Crohn's, when your gut acts up, you can't get away from it.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's got a mind of its own.
Yeah, you can't stop eating for 4 months.
You can't stop eating. You can't do this. When you have to use the restroom, you got to use the restroom. And it is life controlling. So the people that I see in my practice, they're desperate. And once we can fix them, I really feel like it's a complete life changer. And so we have really devoted fans because it's changed their life.
When we were in Vegas, we this was last week for SHOT Show, and we had to mail a bunch of our equipment home. So we had to find a place to mail it. And somebody came up, I can't think who that would be, with a place to mail it that ended up taking us like 4 miles away, and we had to walk with the boxes.
They moved it.
So we're walking all over Vegas, and then we get to where it was supposed to be, and it wasn't there, and we had to walk farther. And about halfway, carrying the boxes, walking, I realized, uh-oh. I have to go to the restroom. Didn't you realize why I was sprinting with the packages?
I was kind of wondering there.
He's like, why is he walking so fast? It was
Now I
like,
know.
beat the clock.
Do
Can
what
we
I
get
do.
to the UPS?
Where Depends. If you wear Depends, it's never an
I was
emergency.
like, this is going to end badly if we don't get to the UPS guy soon. Fortunately, we made it and the packages are back, but that's got to be horrible if you suffer with this regularly.
Nobody thought you were robbing someplace and running with the box.
That's basically what it looked like. I was like, and we're behind the casino still. Got to find the back way in.
It was, thank you. Are younger people getting, so I was reading some statistic that most people with IBS are under 50. Is that right?
Well, I see all ages.
Okay.
And so remember, IBS really is a trash can diagnosis.
Catch-all kind of.
It's a catch-all. It's a very unfortunate thing because anybody that's been labeled as IBS, you go see a specialist, they do blood work, it's normal, they do an endoscopy and a colonoscopy, and you wake up from anesthesia and you get patted and you go, oh, great news, it's just IBS, we didn't find anything. Well, the patient walks out and goes, well, I don't feel any better, you just labeled me with something.
Right.
So for me, that's one of the reasons why I was doing the clinical research on IBS 10 years ago, because I did not believe in that. I did not understand why a diagnosis was, if we can't find anything, we're going to label you with it, and then we're just going to walk away. So I never label anybody with IBS. We keep looking. We look for, is it a bacteria issue? Is it a food sensitivity issue? Is there some other problem going on? So I don't ever use the diagnosis of IBS, and I see it in all ages because the symptoms of IBS are in all ages.
And asking for a friend over, how important is it once you hit 50 to have the colonoscopy? Is that just a marketing thing or?
No, it is the most important thing you can do. If you stop and think about this, colon cancer is the second leading cause of cancer death here in the U.S.
I lost a friend to it.
People always
Several
talk
years ago.
about, oh, we need a cure for cancer. We have a cure for the second leading cause because
Diagnosis early.
almost all
Prevent
cancer comes from polyps. So when you go in at 50, you remove the polyp before it gets out of control.
Right.
And we now have shown that in a very short period of time, the death from colon cancer is rapidly declining because of these screening colonoscopies. Unfortunately, the fastest growing group that's having colon cancer, millennials.
Because they don't know to get checked, or they're
It's not even that. Something in the environment, they're having colon cancer earlier than than their parents.
Oh, that's wild.
Isn't that incredible?
Yeah, that's
So,
wow.
so really, don't even wait till you're 50.
Every time that they look at a screening guideline, the American Cancer Society just came out, they moved it down to 45.
The problem is colonoscopies are not fun.
How do you know? Ever had one?
No, I don't think I have.
Well, I'll tell you what, to all of the listeners, go to my YouTube page, Kenneth
Yeah.
Brown, MD, to dispel all the fears.
Yeah,
I put my colonoscopy up there. I was wide awake, mic'd up. We talked the whole time.
not bad.
Not bad. And I explain everything that's going on. And you can...
They're about to insert endoscope.
Tell me it's fine.
Oh, this is great.
do you remember do you remember Fletch? Moon
Yeah,
River.
Thanks, Doc. You ever serve time?
Is it Ken Brown, MD, just like you know?
It's Kenneth Brown, MD.
Okay.
On YouTube there, but there's my colonoscopy video.
Let's talk for a minute about the business aspect of this too, because we always in our Building America segments talk about people starting business because it's a business as well.
Oh yeah.
Atrantil. So you were driven. We know the backstory, how you ended up coming up with it. But how difficult is it to bring a product like this to market?
Well, first of all, so I'm a doctor, so I'm smart enough to know that I'm stupid and that I shouldn't be running a business.
Good.
So I found
very different animal, isn't it?
very different. So I found a CEO. I've assembled a great team, and we launched this company. So I found a CEO, director of operations, and I still function as the medical director, but I stay in my lane. I'm not real good at spreadsheets and that kind of thing. So when we brought the right people on board, bringing it to market took about 5 years because we did clinical trials on it. We had to see the response to people. We wanted to make sure it was safe. I wanted to know everything from the medical side. Once I turned on the fuel, we raised a little bit of money, we turned that on, and then it came to market fairly quick after I got the right team assembled.
Okay.
But like all things, there's always way more that goes into this stuff than meets the eye.
Unfortunately, my personality is like I like to complete projects. We were just talking about this at our board meeting a couple nights ago. I like to complete projects and be done with stuff. Great, I'll work hard. I'll work tirelessly. It's done. Good. Put a bow on it. On to the next thing. None of this. It's always like, okay, I finished that. Oh yeah, now we need to tweak it a month from now. 2 months from now, we need to adjust this. That's just always how it is. So
everything. One of the biggest things is to check our ego there, because when we launched, the world that I was used to was the pharmaceutical world.
Yeah.
And so I suggested a few things which quickly showed that we were going to spend all our money trying to play in that sandbox. So we pivoted immediately, ratcheted it back, and made sure that we, use the finances judiciously. And the company's growing very rapidly right now.
So what is the recommended dosage? I've got a bottle here, 90 capsules. It says 45 days supply. So is it 2 a day?
Well, so if you suffer from the symptoms severely, so if you bloat after every meal, you're going to take 2 capsules 3 times a day for 10 to 20 days. And we showed in our clinical trials, 4 out of 5 people are going to improve significantly. I personally am gluten intolerant. So in the past, whenever I used to eat any gluten, I'd have to run back and I would have a horrible day.
Yeah.
Then I figured out that I was gluten intolerant. But now if I eat any gluten, I take that with those meals. So I take that as a PRN level if you're gluten intolerant or have food sensitivity, meaning PRN as needed. And then for the overall anti-inflammatory effects of the polyphenols and all those beneficial things we were talking about, taking 2 to 3 every day is what most of my patients do and what I do. My family does, my staff, everyone I know.
Because there's a great deal at your website right now, lovemytummy.com. If you use the promo code MOJO at checkout, they're going to get 3 bottles for $99. That's a savings of $20.
Yeah.
So
Same as downtown.
he just looked at me like, oh, crap, that shouldn't be. I'm like, giving him that much of a discount.
Approve that.
Knock that off.
It's lovemytummy.com/Mojo.
Mojo. Okay, very good. /Mojo.
By the way, there's another great video on your YouTube channel, How to Remove Hemorrhoids Fast. And I'm not sure what you're holding in the thumbnail.
I just fire them.
It looks.
Hey-o. I vote them out. Hey-o.
Looks like a pair of scissors, and I'm.
It's funny because you just I'm just trying to educate. So we just put some
Right.
videos
Sure.
up here and there. And I didn't even realize that if you type in rectal bleeding on YouTube.
Oh, I was doing that this morning.
I'm the first video, and I'm like, that's what
your
people are
claim to
watching. Rectal bleeding.
You know when you go to Google and it says "Get lucky" or "I feel lucky," rectal bleeding. Hey, it's Dr. Ken Brown.
Which I will say this: the horse chestnut Atrantil is a natural remedy for hemorrhoids. So if you do have rectal bleeding, this is also another opportunity.
Mom, Dad, I've got some happy news. Google me. Ken, this is honestly really exciting stuff. We spent, I don't know, an hour or so last week or a couple weeks ago talking about this. This is going to be one of those things that changes a lot of lives. I really believe that.
It really is. And our biggest thing is, and thank you guys so much for helping spread the word, because that's really, just getting out there is what we need to do. Once we get a little bit more traction, then we can help millions more people. And that's really what we're going for.
Awesome.
And honestly, it's always interesting starting when we have to start talking about it. It's an interesting topic to dive into. There's not a good way to say that, really.
Yeah,
but it's one of those things where you have to talk about it and you have to put a little humorous spin on it, because otherwise it just gets weird.
Well, it's funny because talk about the business aspect, we always talk about social media. Well, guess what? People don't really like getting on Instagram talking about their bloating and their intestinal problems.
Ron enjoys talking about his poop
all
on
the
air.
time because he always runs.
But
I've always heard that doctors, if they go to parties, people, oh, you're a doctor, my back is whatever. But I gotta guess, once they figure out your specialty, you get a little less of that.
Do you remember the Seinfeld episode with the license plate?
That's right. Yeah, that's a job. Was it Ass Man? Is that it?
Yeah. Kramer says,
right.
If you find a proctologist at a party, go talk to that guy. He's got the best stories.
I'll bet they do, because they're they know what their job is, right? But you're right. Any of those every year there's a at the end of the year what doctors found in emergency rooms in people's bodies. It's every orifice.
Oh, do you deal with that?
I do.
Yeah.
What's the weirdest thing?
Oh, well, fortunately, the things that we remove have to be removed with a scope.
Right.
So the surgeons, the guys that actually have to cut open, they get the really weird things. The really tough things.
So what's the weirdest thing you've had to...
light bulbs.
All
right, what the hell is wrong with people putting a light bulb in their
You don't
butt?
understand. This is a mistake of convenience.
There's nothing convenient about putting a light bulb in your butt.
I'm guessing people look around and go, well, I don't know, I guess that
It's
light bulb.
dark in there, Bradley.
It's a light bulb. It's made of glass. Have you ever watched one break on the floor?
Thank God we have IEDs now.
IEDs?
No, I'm sorry, LEDs.
Oh, LEDs, yes.
Or IEDs.
You stick an IED up your ass? That's going to prove that's going to be
people
messy
found that
right
as well.
there.
Slightly different.
There's the story that sticks with me the most is when I was a medical student, an ER doc gave a whole lecture on this to all of us. We're first year med students, so it's like it's just x-ray after x-ray of things.
Right.
Well, one of the things was a very large sexual toy that would vibrate when turned on. And
all the best ones do.
Yeah. And so it started out as this funny thing. And then he goes, this is why you have to take everything very serious. Because they could just see the end of it. They sedated the patient. And he took these McGill forceps, which are really long forceps like this, and was able to grab it. And as he was trying to pull it out, he turned it on. And if it was sitting right here, it was just touching underneath the diaphragm. And it put his diaphragm in spasm, and he went into respiratory arrest.
Oh, my gosh.
And so I remember that story completely. We're like, things may seem funny, but it can get ugly really quick. So
I just love all of it's 1,000,000 to 1 shot, right? Every one of them was an accident.
I sat down. There was a light bulb on.
Exactly.
Wow.
All right, go to lovemytummy.com/mojo. Lovemytummy.com/mojo, and you'll get that huge discount. I'm telling you, folks, this is one of those products that's going to be a life hack for you. You probably don't even realize how much you need it until you try it. It's lovemytummy.com/mojo. All right, Doc, thanks, buddy.
Appreciate you
coming
guys. It was awesome coming
Good seeing you. We're going to help you out here and get some other things done for you.
Appreciate
and
it.
we've already posted his colonoscopy.
I'm sure they've already
on
our listeners
Facebook
have already seen it long before you came in. It's standard for them.
A free exchange of ideas. Mojo 50.
By the Numbers with Andrew Coppins is powered by TarRiverArms.com. They've revolutionized online firearm sales with high-resolution pictures, 3D imaging, and the best prices. How much will you save? Find out at TarRiverArms.com. That's TarRiverArms.com.
I'm coming to you live from Siberia, where I can officially report it's colder than a witch's titty cold outside. Seriously, pray for us all in the Midwest as the bitter cold extends to a second day. But you're here for numbers, so let's get into some big news in the world of business. Foxconn has been building a massive campus in southeastern Wisconsin, promising $10 billion in investments and a whopping 13,000 jobs focused on high-end LCD TV panel production. But on Wednesday, Foxconn made it known this location's moving from manufacturing to a focus on research and development. There's been no word on how many of the promised jobs will be lost or what the overall effect will be. Why the change, though? It appears Foxconn is finding out that manufacturing in the United States is shockingly cost prohibitive. Recent reports also indicate that there's an oversupply of large LCD panels, which this location was scheduled to manufacture. So changing focus is not only a smart long-term business plan, it's also a great way to make sure these jobs are there long-term. The problem? The area has also been gearing up for the promised manufacturing jobs and isn't really a region equipped for serious amounts of R&D. Can local universities and tech schools ramp up the science-based programs and supply the needed workers for this new focus? Or will Wisconsin have to spend more money finding a way to attract people to the state for these jobs? The good news, Foxconn isn't backing out totally, and politicians